in a lecture at the Edgar Cayce conference that happens in Kingston, Ontario, at the university there every year. And what has come to me is that we definitely have come here to clear our karma. We've got to do that to begin to work on the ascension body. So clearing our karma is healing our past stuff that we haven't healed. You know, do the forgiveness with your father who abused you, or your mother who constantly hated you, et cetera, et cetera. And so first of all, we need to clear our karma. And I was talking about a process, the CCMBA, Complete Conscious Mind-Body Alignment Technique, which is a wonderful process to facilitate for that. And it takes about an hour and a half to do this session, and I do it in private sessions and in group sessions. And it's very, very easy to learn. We simply say a special prayer before we begin this, and we call in the archangels or angels or ascended masters are called in to help facilitate. And what they do is they put you into a position where you can release your stuff. And the past life stuff is recorded in the spine, and other stuff in our emotional body. And so, yes, ascension, let's clear that karma, and because, you know, that's why a lot of us have come back in this lifetime, and myself included. So having done that, we can work through various processes to raise our light body so that we can do that transmutation at some point in time. And in one of my classes, I talk about the unified chakra technique. And do you ladies know that technique, the unified chakra technique? Are you familiar with it?
I don't know what you're referring to, but I do some chakra stuff. But tell us about your technique.
Yeah, everybody has a different. With the chakras nowadays, they call what we used to call chakra balancing. They do chakra healing they call it people come to me, kids, saying, do you know how to do the Ascension chakra balancing? I'm like, imagine it's the same thing we had 40 years before you got here on the planet, but raising your vibration through the Kundalini experience up your nervous system. But, you know, as far as the energy and the colors, we still use Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. But, you know, we also used to take them all the way up through the 13 dimensions. So do you do them all at once? Is that what you mean with all the colors, all the sounds and vibrations? How do you describe it, Agnes?
The unified chakra technique that I use, we begin with bringing this huge ball of light into the center of our heart, and then we expand that upward to our throat chakra and down to the solar plexus, and we keep bringing this ball of light in until we travel through all the bodily chakras up and down, and then we go into what is known as the waves of Metatron, and they come from the alpha chakra, which is about 6 to 8 inches above our crown chakra, and it's a little bit forward of the crown chakra, and the omega chakra, which is below the root chakra and a little bit forward, about 6 to 8 inches forward. So from visualizing all this light expanding through all the bodily chakras, we go into those alpha and omega, visualize this ball of light flowing kind of like the raku or a zigzag fashion through our body's energy field to the omega chakra. And then we move on to the next one, the 8th one, the emotional body, and then the mental body, the spiritual body, and then the spiritual body, which is part of our higher self. And then we go on to the Christ consciousness field, which is the 12th dimension or level, and then 13th being creator, God, great spirit, intelligent mind. We have so many names for God. And then reaching source. So we're building this light body through all of the levels of our body. But we start with bringing that big ball of light in through the center of our heart and then expanding it up and down. And it's amazing what you can do when you do this regularly. And after you've done it for some time, you can just say unify chakra, and you can feel your whole light body just going into that space.
Yeah,
So-
we've
so
done
that's-
those on the radio. So it is the same, using the heart chakra. A lot of drum below Melchizedek teaches a lot of heart healing and the golden light and coming into the heart chakra. But we also use the toroidal energy like you do and the dimensions and the torus. So, they use geometry for the surface. So some people use the golden light a lot, and I like that. So that's a good thing. And Metatron's always been a great teacher, one of my teachers. And whenever he was around, I could smell sandalwood. And I'm not the only one that says that. I've had other people tell me they could tell because we couldn't see him, but we could smell him. And we weren't we weren't burning sandalwood. So through the years, folks, 40, 50 years, I started practicing Ascension and the Aquarius bookstore, everything I get my hands on back in 1984. And I met Stephen Halpert. So I knew music and then Rice University.
Weren't those fun years exploring all healing arts and metaphysical books that were coming out?
But we didn't have the internet. It wasn't we had to go find different bookstores, folks. It was a whole different world. It was like you were on a mission from God, and you're out finding books.
When we started, there were hardly any books on this. All we had was like Ruth Montgomery and Edgar Casey and
Shirley MacLaine.
And Shirley MacLaine, yeah. So you guys have it made. You have the internet and all these YouTubes and movies.
They can walk into bookstores, go into like the Books A Million, and find all the New Age metaphysical Harry Potter stuff, all in the same area with the cards, tarot cards, and just all kind of magical things that we weren't even allowed to think about, much less buy commercially. I'm just absolutely amazed at how much the world has changed, especially with the metaphysicians. So, and I did like the fact, Janet, you told me she was a metaphysician, and she uses that word, a metaphysician.
That Agnes is.
Yeah,
I have this
title.
What's that?
We should use that for our intuitive work. I like Metaphysician Master. She's got on her site. Yeah, she has workshops and sessions. So, folks, check out Isis Moon Publishing. Is that you up there in the black robe there, Agnes? Your picture. I know it is below her.
Sorry?
With the drum.
I
said, is that you in the black robe up there, your picture on Isis Moon Publishing? And I can see you with your drums, though. And below that.
Yeah, I have a picture.
I usually wear black robes at the new moon gatherings, but I'm not wearing that today.
Not today.
Not today. No. I didn't have to dress up because we're talking over phones.
Yeah.
Right.
I like these drums.
I wanted to mention that we have 7 minutes to go, but I just wanted to mention that we were talking about the what we call the chakra healing. My husband and I, we practice Tantra, and we go through the chakra system, and we address the psycho-emotional issues at every level, like your root chakra, your sexual chakra, your all the different power centers, and we do psychotherapy on each level, and we help people go into their issues on each level. Are they feeling insecure? Do they have issues of the heart? They're not empowered? Whatever it is. Trouble speaking up, and we go back to when did that begin and how. So we use a different system, but there's all kinds of ways of healing, visualization, psychotherapy, but eventually the end result is when you clear your energies on all chakra levels, you might have what's called a Kundalini awakening, and that's where your Kundalini gets activated and it goes out through your chakras out your crown, and you reconnect to source, and you remember who you are, because ultimately it's the same thing. You go up there all the levels, the 13 levels, and you go through your Christic consciousness, Buddha self, and all the way to your source self, and you remember who you are and your mission, why you came down here to agree to incarnate in physical forms and all these different multidimensional forms, and learn what you need to learn and evolve, grow, and become conscious. So it's wonderful that we have these tools at our hand. Okay.
Well,
Go ahead. Back to you.
Yeah, they call it a unified, but it just depends on what class. It's very big in the New Age. It's the Golden Age, I guess, but the unified chakra balancing. There's all kind of websites. Various people claim they started it and put a new spin on it, Janet, but it's basically learning how to move. It's energy, moving energy. It's like Reiki,
Absolutely.
but it's important to teach people that they are energy and how to use it. And it's a great healing tool, folks. So if you're not familiar with it, whether you use unified or golden light or the toroidal or energy or numbers or the chakra balancing, but we've always used the colors of the rainbow and some plus, gold, silver, white, gray, blah, blah, blah. But it just depends. And the main thing is if you're not familiar with it, find you a good teacher because it's sort of I guess to me it's sort of important because it opened up my world into colors and light, chakra balancing, prisms, crystals, the torus and geometry and then sacred geometry. So you'd be surprised. One thing leads to another. And I'd like to have you back sometime, hopefully in the year, and catch us up on, your classes and workshops and all of that. Agnes, since you are definitely a practitioner, it's one to find people that study and research, but it's another to have practitioners that can come and talk to us about what they're physically doing now, in the now, right, Agnes? You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And, I speak from experience, and I think that's important to find a practitioner who's experienced a lot of what she's teaching.
Yes. Well, because it's worked. And it made you a better person.
Absolutely. I've gone out to Source, actually, through a cranial sacral session, but this was very recently. And so, these kinds of experiences are ones that I have been through. So when I teach about the chakra system or teach about ascension or teach about the 13 dimensions, I can explain how it felt to me and what I saw. So that helps a lot in the classes, speaking from personal experience, I find. But I love to do it. It's just my passion to turn people on to, the unseen dimensions and the metaphysical, which is, beyond the body. And the body too, we have to remember to honor our bodies and, dig into those superfoods and so forth. And, there's a brain tonic recipe, for instance, I give out in one of the classes. And it's amazing when I first started taking it about, 20 years ago now, I started remembering things from when I was very young, like the age of 1, 2. And it what it does is reconnects the nerve endings, the synapses to the brain, this particular formula, and so that we can continue to live healthy, youthfully in these bodies until we ascend. And I think that's something that I stress a lot in my classes as well.
Well, Janet, we'll have to have her back sometime, and we'd like to make a list of practitioners in our ACO association, Janet. So we have the Ascension Center, Janet and I, and everybody is the center of their ascension. So Ascension Center we are. So Agnes, thank you for coming, and we'll have to have you back sometime on Ascension Age and Ascension Center and how we use our spiritual pathways as women talking together and how we can all get along a little bit better knowing what field represents to all of us. And I guess any last words? We've got 30 seconds.
I just encourage everyone to be their soul purpose. And if you don't know your soul purpose, call me. I can help you with that. But it's so important in this day and age to be who we are and just forget about what everybody or anybody else says, but be your soul purpose, because when we are, we create this bright spark wherever we are that helps to expand the consciousness on this planet. And we're all connected to... Sorry, I knocked my phone off.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I was like, whoops.
I haven't just done this. My phone did.